Hello, I'm Dave Feinlieb, and this is Beyond the Shelf. This show is an open exploration of the people and process behind e-commerce. Through conversations with innovators in the space, we learn the stories of these leaders and their strategies for e-commerce success. You can find out more about how we're helping leading brands and retailers build retail media and product detail page content faster than ever before at itsrapid.ai. My guest on today's show is Claudia Virgilio, Global Vice President, Strategic Commerce Partnerships at Skai. Claudia has more than 2 decades of revenue-generating experience that includes expertise in SaaS and technology with a focus on retail media, e-commerce, SEM, SEO, social, consulting, and CRM and loyalty channels. Claudia has been at Skai for over 15 years, initially heading up sales efforts with notable deals including Expedia, Hilton, Walmart, Shutterfly, HP, and more. She also led the agency team globally and was instrumental in developing Skai, formerly Kenshoo, agency solutions and partnerships. She has also held sales positions at Expedite, NetCentives, Creditland, and Navient. Claudia graduated from UC Irvine with a BA in political science and a minor in Spanish. Please enjoy my conversation with Claudia Virgilio. Claudia, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Dave. Really appreciate you having me today.
Tell us how you got into the space. What's the backstory?
Well, I can happily say it's been over 2 decades where I originally started working with a technology marketing company called Tamco, then evolved into commerce, all things loyalty and affinity, and then search and social for retail, and then expanded about 8 years ago via Skai into Amazon as being Amazon's first partner, helping them develop their API. And then from there on, we're at about 100 plus retailers that we can allow expansion into. So it's been quite a bit of time and excited to be a part of it.
Amazing. Tell us, if you would, a little bit about Skai and your role at the company.
Yeah, absolutely. So Skai, formerly known as Kenshoo, has been around for 18 years. We got our foothold in traditional paid search, Google, Bing, Yahoo in 2006. From there, we expanded into paid social, paid apps, and then retail media, launching with Amazon in 2017. We also acquired a company in 2020 called Signals Analytics. So we rebranded and became Skai, which represents Signals Kenshoo Actionable Intelligence.
I did not know that's what it stood for, and now I'm better educated on this. So that is fantastic. What does your day-to-day look like? What do you do with customers and partners and all that good stuff?
Yeah, so I've had the pleasure to be at Skai, formerly known as Kenshoo, for 15 years. So my role has definitely evolved. First, launching and creating more of an agency sales team nationally, which is where I first started with Kenshoo at that time. I expanded into partnerships, where I led commerce partnerships for 8 years with the likes of Amazon and Walmart, Target, and beyond. And most notably and recently, I've really taken on this new venture of working with strategic independent agencies. We really saw an opportunity to partner with the likes of Channel Bakers, Tenuity, and others that were looking to really expand into retail media, and really excited to be working on that today.
Amazing. Tell us a little about working with an Amazon, a Walmart, these really large retailers, these partners. What are some of your learnings from establishing those partnerships and then operating them year to year?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say, first of all, great partnerships. And they take partnerships seriously, which is really great. And I do too. So I think starting with Amazon as being kind of that first retail media partnership, they evolved very quickly, right? So, and expanded, and they're a massive company. So I think really working with them, trying to unite all the different business units and goals and APIs and everything that they're working on in a joint proposal, and just having accountability on goals was something that was very near and dear to our partnership. So, yes, and just continuing to set those, what those growth goals look like on both sides, and partnering with a myriad of folks over at Amazon, which has been great. That evolved over to Walmart, which actually brought over several folks from Amazon to lead their partnership efforts. And we continue to emulate that model that we set forth with Amazon.
You mentioned that now you work with over 100 different partners, channels. What's that like? How have you managed the program, and how do you maintain those relationships given the scale?
Yeah, absolutely. So we expanded into 100 plus partnerships. And what I'm working on right now is really working with those agency partners and how to help them expand into. So a lot of it is enablement and education, continuing to share with these agencies, looking at it from a client perspective to understand how they can really expand and go beyond and broader from Amazon, Walmart, and more. Seeing where their clients' products are being sold at and what the opportunities are at. So it's really about enablement, education, conversations, and more.
Now, when you were starting out in the space, what did you envision? Were you thinking marketing? Were you thinking sales? Were you thinking part of the product team? How did you kind of find your path in all the different areas you've worked in?
Yeah, well, I would say, again, over 2 decades ago, I definitely launched into sales, but working more at these marketing type companies.
Yeah.
And then from there, that evolved into more of like a BD partnerships role, which is really great, and looking to formulate those go to market plans and partnerships. And now excited to be back in the revenue org. As we say at Skai, I mean, everyone is in the revenue org, always responsible for driving revenue profitability. So not a lot has changed there. It's just the evolvement, how I'm looking at it from a lens from all of that experience and richness that I have through those partnerships that I learned. So it's like a different approach, but excited to be driving forth top line revenue for Skai.
I love it. Now, we met up at Grocery Shop. It was, I don't know about you, but it was an exciting few days. It was an intense few days with many customers, many partners, lots of great meetings. What were some of your insights, takeaways from the event?
Yes, I love Grocery Shop. I'm just really amazed how it always continues to grow and evolve. It was really all things retail media networks, right, and the growth there. A couple things that I thought were interesting were some of the AI technologies that are in store at retailers. That was really fascinating to me to understand how they're looking at things digitally, scanning on the shelves, so that way that can communicate to online when people are making purchases or trying to make sure that there's inventory in stock, for instance. So a lot of these type of technologies I thought were really fascinating. But still a huge expansion with all of our obviously partners and agencies and brands all being present there and having great conversations.
It is such a great place to meet up. You can be super efficient, and the energy level is just off the chart. So it was a great event. Tell us a little about you're coming off Grocery Shop, you're building out these partnerships, and I imagine you spend a lot of time with agencies and also with advertisers thinking about how they should invest their spend. You're obviously super close to the ad budgets and seeing this across so many different parts of the ecosystem. What are some of the insights for the agency partners and the advertisers on allocating spend, doing the planning as we head into 2025?
Yeah, no, thanks, Dave. I think that's an interesting concept because I think all agencies are trying to figure out for on behalf of their customers how to get more with less, right? And to do it effectively and efficiently. So I think that really brings into an opportunity of diversification across these different retailers, right, that are all trying to monetize their site just like Amazon and have some great unique opportunities for these brands. And so I think first and foremost is really trying to understand where the brands are being sold, having a prioritization of those retailers to understand uniqueness in terms of customers and things and exposures that they can, present to these brands and opportunity. But then, of course, as you're mentioning, next comes, well, how much do I allocate to which partner and so forth? So media planning, media allocation, strategy, all of that is super important, and measuring that to an effective ROI. So I think, definitely tools that are focusing in that effort is what our agency partners are talking about right now in a need set.
Will you give us Media Planning 101? If I'm new to this area, maybe I've been working on digital shelf or I've been working on in store, and now I'm thinking about a media plan and how I might think about that in an omni context. What are kind of the key elements that go into the thinking and then the actual the putting the plan together?
Yeah, no, Dave. I think media planning has a lot to cover, right? One can look at it from a lot of different lenses. If you look at more like from a merchandising perspective and so forth. If we look at media planning from like a paid media planning perspective, which is really where I'm really focused on, I would say first and foremost from the Skai perspective, it's about visibility, right? So it's about bringing all of the data to fruition, making it visible and present so that way you can understand where your budgets are being allocated currently. So you could see all of those channels holistically, and understand the metrics that make sense for each channel. I think that's the most important. And then also looking at it in different like variable ways that you look at your business. So it could be by category, by line of business, it could be by geo, all of these different sectors as you're looking at it. And then understanding from a top line, what are the budgets to start with, and then understanding what you're trying to drive for. So in the media planning tools, for instance, something that Skai does provide, Skai Decision Pro, it does allow for that effectiveness and quickness to make those decisions. So if you had, $100,000 extra to spend, which channel should you be spending on? It can quickly, with a fingertip, let you know. But that first step is really consolidating and getting all of that data in place. So it's that visibility, the transparency, and then you can start to make those very specific decisions around where to allocate the budgets and how much for the better return.
Let me ask you about the flip side of that. So I'm halfway through the year. I have the media plan. Now the retailer comes to me and says, I've got this amazing opportunity for you, but it's next week. How do I think about that in the context of kind of my existing plan? And obviously I want to take advantage of those opportunities, but I also want to manage my budget and get my overall objectives accomplished.
Yeah, so that's what these tools like Skai Decision Pro are exactly intended for, right? Once everything's plugged in, if you have to kind of shift things quickly, it can tell you that within seconds. And absolutely, our agencies and client partners, they want to take advantage of these unique opportunities as they should. And so I think being able to shift quickly to do that is really important. So I would recommend and say, yes, absolutely. You can do those things in a digital sense, whereas offline, it makes it a lot harder to do. But we're very fortunate in the digital world when you have all the data together, those things can happen rather quickly.
Now, you have this unique lens where you were first partner at Amazon. You've seen the space evolve. You've got retail, you've got social, you have these different channels. What have you seen now that's maybe different in the ecosystem or in how advertisers are working than you saw a few years ago?
Yeah, I would say, well, before it was really about the key partners like Amazon and Walmart and Target. And I would definitely say there's more of a diversification, right? And an expansion into a larger subset of different retailers that are in market, Instacart, Kroger. I mean, the list goes on. I would say there's different ad formats. Obviously Amazon being the most sophisticated when you have the sponsored ads, sponsor brands video, sponsored display video, the ADSP, Prime Video more. I mean, the list kind of goes on. So you're seeing more of these new retailers come in, maybe with more of the initial sponsored ad type, but you're going to see that evolve as well. I think on-site display, off-site display is very prominent. Bringing in digital shelf metrics is something that all of our agencies are interested in, and it's very important. And we facilitate that, not only the visibility into inventory, being able to action off of it as well, all of those key metrics.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say moving more upper funnel, getting deeper into the commerce kind of digital shelf metrics, just in-store metrics overall. I think you're going to see a lot more of that.
What's your favorite ad format of all those different ones that you mentioned?
I think I love video. I think all things video, especially the shorter ones, the ones that kind of like the snippets, they can really be very effective. So
Those are great. Yeah, we're big fans of that at the podcast and at It's Rapid. These quick videos are the way to go. So I'm 100% with you. Talking about different kinds of ads, different kinds of content. When we were kind of thinking about the topics that we would cover, one of the things you mentioned is what's the medium, and I'd love it if you would kind of parse that apart for us and tell us what that means and then maybe some examples.
yeah, so great question. So one of the things that I'm seeing is as we look at more of a loyalty and affinity, the mediums or the different channels that people leverage and use, like an Instacart, Uber Eats, DoorDash, Shipt, and more. You could just go buy off of Costco.com. But you could also buy things from Costco.com via Instacart. So it's more of a preference and it is more of a loyalty. So I feel like customers are choosing which way they want to purchase and at specific times for specific needs. So that's what I call kind of the medium, the way that they're choosing to purchase and having that flexibility and having it all out there is important. I'm an Instacart customer. I love Instacart. I buy from them Instacart all the time. So I'm a loyalist there.
100%. We have a great partnership with them on creative, and they're so agile in the way that they work. It's always a pleasure to work with them. When you're a brand and you're thinking about this brand building, you have as a shopper, you have loyalty to Instacart, for example, or your market that you're shopping at. How can you, as a brand, kind of be present in that brand building and that awareness building that's so hard to do these days?
Yeah, I would say brand discovery is very difficult online, and it's something that I think it is a challenge. And I think that retailers like Instacart are looking to have and solve for that. Personally, when I was at grocery shop, one of the things that they allowed us to do is go through their area and pick up like 8 items from their little kind of market store. I picked up a box of Goodles, which was a protein-rich mac and cheese with like 14 grams of protein, 6 grams of fiber. Personally, I would have never even heard of that brand before. I ended up cooking it. I loved it. It tastes great. So those niche brands, right? I happened to see that in person. It's harder to do online. And how do you surface that? I think you're seeing that being translated today in social commerce. I think they're doing a really good job. Obviously, things with CTV and streaming TV are some other really good examples. But I think just getting those niche brands out there, I think a lot of these retailers are starting to think about it because when you are a common purchaser, one tends to go to kind of like your saved, your favorites, your shopping cart that you already have in there. How do you then plug in these really great, notable brands? I was just at an event this week and I heard about Fishwife. Have you heard of them?
I haven't heard of this.
Okay, so I had not either. Fantastic brand. It's a rebranding of things like tuna and all things fish, but they're adorable branding and packaging. They just launched caviar this week. So it's a great brand. I guess sales are through the roof and they're doing a great job. So again, another niche brand that you hear about kind of in conversation. But there's a lot of those out there and just trying to get those to the forefront. I think people would enjoy it.
I love it. This is such a great area. So we've got brand discovery, we've got thinking about your media spend, and then my other question is, how are you thinking about the space going forward? You've seen kind of the evolution of the space. Tell us what's on the horizon.
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of a recap of the things that we're seeing at grocery shop. I think in-store retail, the intersection between offline and online. I mean, 80% of sales are still offline. So you're going to see that continue to expand and get more sophisticated and connect more to digital. All things. I think that's important. I think a lot of tools and functionality around media planning, as we discussed, are going to be important, and accepting different kind of media ad types and formats. Those are going to get a lot more sophisticated, moving up towards, the funnel and brand awareness. I think all things there. And I think creative is really important too. So getting the right level of creating and testing is going to be really key to, again, drive better results.
Well, we are here to help with your creative. So I'm excited to hear that. And I agree with you. There's a lot to be done in the space. And you've got a great set of tools at Skai. And then you've got all these other opportunities in the space. So really excited about those. Claudia, I have a few fun wrap-up questions that I'd love to ask you. The first of which is, and I know it's hard to pick only two, but which two people have inspired you the most in your professional career?
Thanks, Dave, for asking. At first, I would say would be Nick Beal. He was my former boss at Performix / DoubleClick / Google / Publicis. So I was there for 7 years, and he was my former boss. He really mentored me. He has a very strong tenure in sales, a ton of energy, and is just so great with customers. He also helped, basically get me aligned with a leadership coach and allowed me to become an executive and manage a team and get into that sector. But I would say he really taught me what's called pleasantly persistent. So I got that from him. And then the second, I would say, is Yoav Izhar Prato, which is currently and still our CEO at Skai, formerly known as Kenshoo. He interviewed me over 15 years ago. And what he really taught me even back then is just the concept of Skai, the Skai family. He is, and also the tenet of just core values, being passionate, innovative, humble, and people with integrity is something that's near and dear to him and myself as well, and something that has always been instilled at Skai, formerly known as Kenshoo, since day one. So family, knowledge, insight, and he's done such an amazing job. And why I'm still here 15 years, because the company's evolved. I mean, for 18 years, it continues to evolve, be agile, innovative, doing the right things, and profitably. So I have a huge respect for that in him.
Those are great. Those are rules for the road right there that I think we all aspire to. So thanks for sharing those. Now, my other question is about if you get some time outside of work. I know we're all super busy, but what are some of your favorite hobbies, things to do outside of work and family?
Well, I definitely am a family first person. So outside of work, you're going to see me at all things sports. So my daughter, or our daughter, Kayla, she's 16, plays soccer, so lots of soccer games. Our son is a freshman at college. He plays baseball there. So I used to be able to go to a lot of games. Now they're a little bit not as much, but he's still in California, so I'm excited to get to a couple of them. But personally, beyond that, I love yoga. I love to go to yoga sculpt. I do just any type of yoga at this place called Yoga Box here in Point Loma. I love it and enjoy it. I love to travel and do all things outdoors with my husband and my friends and family.
Amazing. Those are great. Congratulations on all the success with the kids. And one follow up, your favorite destination that you'd like to go to next?
That's a great question. I would say it's my old school one. I love Kauai. The island of Kauai is something that is very near and dear to me. It's very grounding. It's beautiful, and I just love it.
Such a beautiful spot, and it's so calm and peaceful. So that's a great spot. Claudia, I've really enjoyed talking with you today. We covered lots of great topics. We learned about media planning. We learned about some great tools from Skai, and we learned about your backstory, which is amazing, and also some tenets for how we should all work with customers, I think. So those are really great. If our listeners want to get in touch with you online, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Yeah, reach out to me on LinkedIn, please. I love to chat, and I'm here. Definitely can share some ideas with you.
Thank you so much. Great to have you on the show at Beyond the Shelf, and I hope you'll come back.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it, Dave.
I hope you enjoyed today's show. Beyond the Shelf is brought to you by It's Rapid. It's Rapid is the platform Pepsi, Sierra Nevada, Revlon, and hundreds of other leading brands and retailers use to build personalized content at scale. Whether that's images, videos, or product descriptions for their product detail pages, shoppable videos or banners for their digital ad campaigns, or sell sheets for sales enablement, brands that use It's Rapid are able to produce high-quality, on-brand content on average more than 80% faster than category competitors. To find out more, please visit itsrapid.ai. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Beyond the Shelf.